Welcome to Journeys of Impact. Extraordinary people, extraordinary places, extraordinary change. This isn't just a show, it's a movement in motion. Join Lori as she travels beyond the expected to meet the changemakers, dreamers, and doers who are transforming communities around the world and right in their own backyards. From powerful conversations to unforgettable adventures, every episode is packed with heart, humor, and moments that stay with you long after the journey ends. This is where travel meets purpose, where storytelling sparks action, and where creativity turns ideas into real impact. Through candid interviews, immersive local experiences, and playful challenges, Journeys of Impact brings you closer to the people and places, proving that change doesn't have to be loud, it just has to be real. You'll laugh, you'll reflect, you'll be inspired to see the world and your role in it differently. Because extraordinary change starts with one bold idea, one courageous step, and one ripple that grows into something bigger than we ever imagined. Welcome, your host, Lori McDowell.
Welcome to this episode of Journeys of Impact, Extraordinary People, Extraordinary Places, Extraordinary Change. And today I have an extraordinary guest, someone who I met, I guess about a year ago, and it seems like a lot longer than that. McKensie Stanton, somebody introduced me, a close friend, Jay Sauter, who's been on one of these episodes, introduced me to McKensie because he said, what he told me when he introduced me, he says, you both have such great ideas and she just jumps in and do it. So I want you to meet her. And it's so true about her. We went to Fiji together. She runs an organization called World Changers. And Fiji was the first Let's Change World Changers retreat. And not only did we change the world in that retreat, but it changed my life as well. So I'm so excited to have McKensie with me because she truly embodies what this show is all about. So, hey, Kenzie, how are you?
Oh, I'm so good. Lori, thank you for having me here. And you're incredible. Just so you know, I will say this for those listening in our Fiji retreat, we all said, and we're all different ages, backgrounds, demographics, beliefs on certain things, like
I was the oldest
and,
by a
well, no,
lot.
and yet you were like had the some of the most energy out of anyone. So, age is just a number. But we all would say like we want to be like Lori when we grow up. Because you won the Impact Player Award of our whole trip, which is earned by points and doing all these little tasks leading up to it. So, anyways, I just want to say
Yeah.
that. So happy to be
Well,
here.
it was a great event, and it really did change my life. People like some of my coaches when I came back, or even today, they're like, "What happened to you in Fiji? You came back a different person." So it really did change so much. So change, and we changed the world. I hope. I mean, I believe we did because we made some impact on some amazing people.
Mhm.
So, Kenzie, I know you are a fitness coach, but you're and a digital nomad or the nomad CEO. More than that, tell us a little bit about what you're doing now and how you got here.
Oh my gosh, yes. Great question, Lori. Oh boy, where do we start? Well, I'll start with what I'm doing now. So yes, my lifestyle as of, gosh, I think 8 months ago, so it's still relatively fresh, is a full-time traveler, a nomad, as I like to say. And this was a 10 plus year dream in the making. Did I think it would take this long? No. Was it worth it? Absolutely. So I travel full time. I'm from Idaho, so that's my home base. However, I don't have a home here. So super fun. So far, I've gone to Asia for a few months and Europe for a few months. I've been back in the States through a lot of different states for a few months. So it's been a fun adventure. And alongside of that, yes, I started World Changers a year and a half ago or so now. And it has been the calling of my life. It is just like my soul oozing out into the world. And because I believe that everyone has a world changer within them. Every single person on the
Hmm.
planet. I believe it is in there. And I wanted to create a space that allows people, empowers people to awaken that world changer within them and to amplify that world changer. And it's been, yeah, an adventure really in the process. So yeah, I have a podcast called Nomad CEO, and that's really the behind the scenes of building all of this and more of my journey. And not just my journey, rather other people's journeys and their stories. So the heart, I would simplify everything that we do is two things. It's number one, to create opportunities for people. Because when you create opportunities for people that otherwise may not have had them, like in, different parts of the world that they may not have the resources that we have in other parts of the world, to create opportunities for them to have those resources. And I believe when you do that, you open up a platform and a pathway for that world changer to come out. And
Hmm.
secondly, to share people's stories. And that's why I love so much of what you do here, Lori, is you create a space, through this platform to share people's stories. And I'm honored to be one of those people. Because I really do believe that hearing people's stories can help change the world. And so yeah, so how did I get here? A little backstory. As I mentioned, grew up in Idaho. I was a three-sport athlete through high school and then a college athlete as well, just small schools. So like, don't be impressed. But health was always it was one of my first loves, if you will. Like I remember being a teenager we're being on like road trips and I would read, multiple books in the back seat of the car on health. And Jillian Michaels was my gateway drug, so to speak, to fitness, the home workouts back in the day. And yeah, I've always loved movement. And ironically, I've actually struggled in my health a lot. So I faced eating disorders at different times in my life and body image stuff. And, especially as a trainer and, doing all of that, navigating the aesthetics and the pressure and the comparison and just all of that stuff. So I'm very passionate about health from multiple different angles. So that's a component. Another thing is when I was 14 years old, I got a letter from an organization called People to People, and they help, student ambassadors, if you will, go travel the world. And I got this letter in junior high, and little story on that. I remember sitting on my mom's bed. It was a tall bed. It was like, I think of Princess and the Pea. You like climb up on the bed because it's so big. And we had an acre and a half, mini farm in the town. at the time. And I was looking out over our pasture and I saw our animals and it was a bright, sunshiny day. And I'm reading this letter from People to People that's inviting me to go to Australia. And yeah, and I remember sitting there being like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And just like, and my mom, single mom, my dad's amazing. He's in my life. But I live with her predominantly and she'd work 3 jobs and to support my brother and I. And so I remember being like, wow, like, and it was thousands of dollars, reading it to her and being like, that'd be really cool to go. I'm scared to ask. I don't want to put that pressure, and I remember her saying like, well, would you want to go? And I remember asking, well, can I? Is that okay to ask? And I remember her saying, if you want to go, we will find a way to make it happen. And I share that, Lori, because that moment in my life absolutely changed the trajectory of it. And so, the health component, the travel component, I've done leadership for a long, been in leadership as a leader for a long time in different capacities. I built a direct sales business to the top 2%. I'm just, and I had that over 10 years and I've just been relentless in that. And so coming back full circle, World Changers has become a blend of those passions. I believe that travel is a tool for transformation. I believe that to change the world, we have to have the biology that can keep up with the vision, a body that keeps up with the ambition. And, so it's been a beautiful journey to get here. So yeah, that's a little backstory.
I love that. So much good stuff there. So I want to touch on a couple of things. First, before I forget, I want to talk about that message from your mom, because I'm a coach. I do retreats. I help people create their amazing life. And I do a lot of sales. I do sales for other coaches and I do sales for myself. And the one thing I always hear, people are always saying, oh, I really want to do this. I don't have the money, or I really want to do this. I can't. And I remember when you invited me to Fiji, my first thought was like, I can't afford to go to Fiji. And then I was like, wait a minute, I want to go to Fiji. And that message, if you really want to go, we'll find a way, is something that's so important. It's like that trust in yourself. Like if you really want to have a successful business, that's the mindset you have to have all the time. If you want to have an amazing life, that is the mindset you have to have. And I've shared my story a lot of times, but I share how my younger sister was in an accident when she was 13 and was in a coma and has been brain damaged. And she's alive, but her life was never the same. And that put that message in my head that we don't know how long life is. We don't know if tomorrow, if there is any tomorrow. So you don't if you want to do something, you make it happen today. If you put it off, it may never come. So I love that message. And I just wanted to talk about that because I think that for everyone, if you're listening to this and you run a business, you need that mindset. If you want to have an amazing life, you need to have that in your head. If you want to do it, find a way. And trust that you're going to find the way. Believe in yourself enough that you can make it happen. So there's my little soapbox rant.
Yes, let's go. I love it. I love it.
I want to talk about your Fiji and your World Changers retreat first, and we'll get to the travel and a lot of the other things. But Fiji, it wasn't just a retreat. It was so much more, and it started with a challenge. So tell us a little bit about the challenge and how you basically people, we started probably 2 months, 3 months before the retreat. Tell us a little bit about that, because that's very unique.
Yes, yeah, it's a creation of my soul. So well, and it's such a great question. I'm going to share a few stories on that. One, before I talk about what that was, really there was actually a lot of adversity going into it, and so to echo back and forth of the finding a way to make it happen. When I decided to do it, because it is well, I'm sure plenty of other people do it. For me, it was coming out of a place of creation. So I wasn't comparing to, say, this other business or company or approach. It was like, no, what would it look like if to me it was the ideal scenario from all different angles to lead a retreat and create transformation, all this stuff. So anyways, I decided we're going to Fiji. Like, this is happening. That's the funny thing. I'd never been to Fiji. So And I've been to a few dozen countries, so like I'm pretty comfortable with travel. It's kind of a wild card though to be like, I'm gonna take, 10 people across the world to somewhere I've actually never been and
Mhm.
convince them that it's a great idea to follow me in doing it. And I was very upfront about that, right? I was like, this is the first retreat of its kind. I've done all this travel, I haven't been, so everyone knew what they're signing up for. But nonetheless, it was, maybe a little bit of a bold move. And with that said, though, is I won't get into the details. One note, though, is in my ignorance, I put thousands of dollars down of a deposit on a retreat location on an island in Fiji that was not, that was being built. That was promised to be built way before we were going to go. And from the pictures, it was a glamping resort. And so my hippie heart was like, yeah, this is the vibe. Like, this is where we're going to go. It's like luxury meets, the beach and like whatever. Well, fast forward, we basically got scammed and we were very misled from this person. And so I had a lot of tension and stress of like, are we going to have a location that I just sold the dream to for people? And like, am I going to miss out on that money? Like, whatever. And I remember, someone I was working with to make this happen that was like, and she had shared later, like, oh, I don't know if we're going to go to Fiji. Is this going to work out? But this is a thing from that story with my mom, because this was of my heart. And she's so great. And I know, this isn't towards her at all. Because this was born out of my heart of hearts and my soul and my mission for my life. I never had that thought. It was
Mhm.
like, no, we're going. I
Somehow we're going to Fiji.
Yeah. And I was like, I do not, hell or high water, I do not care what it freaking takes. Like, this is happening. And not only is it because of my mission, I told all of you what we're doing. And so based off my ignorance and my, rookie move here on that commitment to this resort, that's not going to stop us. Like, it was a test. And to me, like one of the like mottos of my life is that I will be tested before I am trusted. So I
Mhm.
got to pass the test. And as soon as I make a decision for a breakthrough in my life, like that's when the resistance comes. That's really when the journey starts. So, anyways, I just want to throw that out there because that's a part. So, what do we do? What did that look like? Well, really, I got this thought, Lori. I really believe that most people want to make a change in the world. They want to have
Mhm.
meaningful impact in their lives. They want their life to mean something and have fulfillment and significance, and to say that, man, because I walked the earth, it was better than it was before I did. And I just really believe in us as humans, we have that innate drive and desire. And so my brain was like, okay, what would it look like to create that kind of life? And what would it look like to build the person, build the human, change the world of each individual to then go out there and make a bigger change in the world around them? So that was the premise of the lead up to Fiji, and this whole movement that we call this 10-week intensive was to pick certain pieces of the puzzle that would hold us back from creating that change and building a system to overcome that before it came. So, for example, I believe in changing the world, we first have to change how we think,
Right.
our mind. So,
Mhm.
a component of that is we dove into the neuroscience of rewiring your brain. And for me personally, that was a huge component in me overcoming addiction that I battled for 10 years and not believing that I could ever overcome it. Understanding how the brain works is like, I can totally overcome this. I just have to follow this process. This makes total sense to me. And so we implemented that. We read a book on neuroscience. We did a daily practice of rewiring our brain, and we're very clear on this toxic thought that we're replacing with a healthy thought and the mechanics of going through that. And it was so beautiful, Lori, because in that process, half step back, we met for 8 weeks over Zoom. And 6 of those weeks were a challenge. And for those listening, you can think of it like a fitness challenge, right? Where we had fitness tests in Fiji. So we had, movement commitments throughout the weeks leading up to it that were aligned with our goals. Then we paired in the neuroscience. So then we paired in, okay, how do I rewire my mind while I'm training my body so that I can leverage the power of that, double-ended transformation to become a different person, to literally evolve. I think of the caterpillar to a butterfly, that you become unrecognizable. A butterfly can never go back to being a caterpillar.
In a caterpillar.
It is impossible.
Yeah.
However, not all caterpillars become a butterfly. And so to me, that double-ended approach just in those two things was really huge. So we had the mind, we had the body, and then to me, the people that change the world are leaders. I believe we're all leaders, and leadership is influence. And so we first have to lead ourselves, and then that ripples out to those around us like a drop in water, right? And so we had in the 6-week challenge, working on our mindset, these fitness habits that we all had a fitness goal, but the fitness goals were different. So yours was different from mine, different from each person on that trip. So it was personalized, which was nice. Every body is different. And then we had leadership targets to hit each week. And we had workshop calls where we had speakers come in to teach on those topics. And then we had accountability calls. So everyone had an accountability ally, a person that they would get on Zoom with each week and report their numbers. And then check in. How are you doing? Where do you need support? How are you going to get 1% better? All this stuff. So it was intense. And I was so bold to be like, hey, team, let's post this on social media while we do it and share it with the world. So it was a lot, learned a lot. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense of like, it was a buildup to the retreat. So in Fiji, what we did, there are 4 components to our World Changers retreats. One is we're going to go and we're going to adventure. We're going to experience the place that we go because, hello, that's why we're traveling, right? What is this place like? What are the people like? The food, the culture, blah, blah, blah. Love it. So we're going to adventure and experience that. Number 2, it's a space where we can be together in person to continue to develop our leadership skills. I believe a big gap in our leadership is public speaking. And funny that we were introduced through Jace, who's a public speaking coach of many, many other things, his many talents and gifts. And so at the time, I flew in my uncle, who was a Harvard professor for 20 years, has worked in 50 countries around the world, training politicians on their speech to get elected. And he's helped, I believe, 11 presidents and prime ministers get into office.
Yeah. And I think based on some of the speeches of politicians he shared us, if any of us that were in Fiji want to get elected, we have a really good chance based on some of those speeches from politicians he showed us before they worked with him. So
oh my gosh. Yeah. Some that you're like, I'm in pain. I'm in physical pain listening to this now. So yeah, so and what was so cool about that too, Lori, I mean, you were, and everyone was amazing coming in. I think you probably had the most training on your public speaking out of anyone there. And it was so cool though to see before working with Steve and having that day-long crash course with him on delivering a speech and the passion behind it. And then the one-on-ones with him, everyone knocked it out of the park. And the speech that everyone gave was their world-changing speech. So think about that. Like, where can we go that we can deliver a speech like Martin Luther King Jr. did and many other people that moves the world? And so that's what this is, a container to equip and empower and educate people on how to deliver that and then create the space for them to do so. And something I'm so excited about in our future retreats is to have that be a conference for locals. And the third component is we volunteer at a local nonprofit to be able to sew into them and make this conference out of it. So I'm just really excited about it. So yes, that third component is we'll find a local organization that we can serve in our time, and we give 10% to that cause as well. And so in Fiji, I have a heart for orphanages. So we went to one there and it was the best.
Yeah,
I always say,
it was definitely it was the highlight of the trip. I mean, that was, the entire trip was amazing, but that was just those kids were so amazing, and they're gonna change the world. But just spending that time with these are kids who could be miserable. They've gotten the short stick of everything, and yet they were the happiest, fun. They were amazing.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So that was incredible. And I would say like it's an opportunity to get your heart stolen, but you won't want it back.
No.
And yeah, so the volunteering, and then 4th is the fitness test. So for example, I know your challenge was a mile, which is amazing. You crushed it. And I mean, it's so empowering. The transformation comes from seeing yourself do what you at one time were unable to do. And I think the payoff in a foreign country like that, I mean, beautiful island, right? Like absolutely gorgeous, a bit hot to be doing
a little bit,
long
I plan to run on the treadmill.
Yeah.
And the treadmill was in a gym where they didn't have any outlets and the battery was dead. So instead, my run was outdoors, which
Oh
much
my
nicer
gosh.
scenery, but a little bit warmer.
Yeah. Yeah. The first part of I did half my run out. I was like outdoors, and then somehow we got the treadmill to work for the end of it. I was like, I didn't think this one through. It was half. My body was like steaming. Anyways, yeah, so that was really the heart of the World Changers movement. And since then we've segued into a masterminds. We've met pretty much every week since, and it's May of the following year, and that was in September, and just have such a beautiful, intimate, loving community. And there's been other programs that have come from that as well. And we're, ever evolving and growing, and it's just really exciting. So, anyways, that's what that
Yeah,
was.
that's so amazing. So yes, we would definitely. Fiji was amazing. We're gonna take a break for some words from our sponsors in a few minutes, but before we do that, I do want to talk about Fiji and the people in Fiji. I mean, I had never been to Fiji before. You had never been to Fiji before. I don't think I've ever been anywhere in the world where from the minute we stepped onto Air Fiji, actually before that, we were in LA and we met a Fijian woman at the hotel. And it was like, they're so joyful and helpful and loving. And like, they want to like embrace you and bring them into their
Mhm.
world. And the people, like the Fijian people, were so incredibly warm and friendly and happy all the time. I mean, they're living in places that we would consider shacks, some of them, and yet they're
Mhm.
happy. And they invited us to their kava ceremony, which was quite a experience, a lot of fun, very local, but and
Uh,
just everything. I don't think I ever saw someone who lived in Fiji who wasn't smiling. I think at one time
mhm.
we went to the store downtown and asked where a store was. And not only did they give us the directions, but this woman walked us to the store and showed us where the door was. So it was just incredible. What did you think about that? I mean, did you get the
Oh,
same impression I did
ab
that they were amazing?
absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, Fijians exude love. They exude joy. It is a big warm embrace. It's like a hug when we got there. And I'm laughing thinking of the kava ceremony. So little context for everybody. We were on this island. So our resort was literally, it was just like this resort on this little island off the mainland of Fiji. And everyone that was working there were Fijians, they were locals. But they would stay on that resort in between their shifts, right? To, get morning work, all that. So they had their own living quarters, and it was tucked back in. They had a volleyball court, and like it was in the middle of the resort where normal people staying there would never see it. And so, but we were invited to this ceremony. We're like, heck freaking yeah, let's do it. And I laugh because I've been to Kenya and South Africa and Jamaica and like all the, different parts of the world that I'm, it's not my first exposure to a different style of living. And I
Hmm.
remember us walking back in this resort, and here I am, the leader of it, and I'm just like not, having a moment. But looking at it, like it could have been really creepy. Like this is the thing, the setting, it was nighttime. There were just like these big beaming lights, and this like, how would you describe it? It was like a shed without any walls, and maybe,
Right.
I don't know.
Like a big lean-to almost, like a
Yeah,
big, with a
it was
roof,
big.
and it was big. And there were maybe like 10 men sitting there, like all staring at us as we walk in. It was just like, what are we doing? Where are we going?
Yeah, like are we walking into a ceremony for our death? No. Yeah, but that was the funniest part is like all Fijians are so exude love and joy, and yet in this setting at night, and it's kind of a weird, I would say not, we're not used to it, right? And we didn't know. And they're all sitting like crisscross applesauce, like emotionless, staring at us, entering in. And here I am, just like do 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 do, not my first rodeo and kind of situations like
Right.
this. And I look back and I remember some of our people being quite concerned about what was
Hmm.
happening.
Right.
However, yeah, go ahead.
Well, we were invited to there was one, got my, what's his name? I forgot his name.
Inosi?
Inosi. He was one of the big Fijian employees. He had this incredible voice. He sang every night at dinner. He was so welcoming and friendly. He even came to our World Stranger speeches and sat there all day to hear them all. But he invited us to this kava ceremony. And as we're walking back there, I can remember thinking, did he tell anyone else we were coming? Like, are we just crashing their private, thing? And suddenly there's 10 people walking in and they're like, but it ended, once we sat down and they introduced it, ended up being beautiful and perfect and a lot of
Yes.
fun. And they were warm and welcoming. But yeah, the initial, it was a little scary the first time. We went back
Yeah.
for another night later in the week, and that was even more amazing. And we brought a few other strangers that weren't even part of our group that just happened to be staying at the resort. So they got to experience it too.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. They're totally nice people. It's just like the setting, I think, is what
Yeah,
really, and kind of the emotionless, like just staring was funny. Um, but that's the thing about Kava, it's so relaxing. Like they were
it
like
is.
zenned out. They weren't like
Right.
being
Yeah.
creepy, but we didn't know
No, they
that
were
at the time.
just,
They're just
had already
chilling.
been experienced and we're just kind of relaxed. And yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit more about travel, a little bit more about what you've got going in the future, about changing the world. I do want to take a little break for some word for our sponsors, so we will be back in just a moment. As I go through life, I meet many people who are stuck, people who are unfulfilled, unhappy. They don't have control of their lives. They don't know how to live the life they desire. I wrote a book that will show you how to become empowered, how to live the life that you dream of, a life filled with joy. This book explores the intersection between trauma and being stuck. It embraces that you are empowered to live the life you desire. It'll help you get past that. It'll help you find joy. We all have the power to live the life we desire. We are worthy, we are capable, and we can do it. I was inspired to write this book because I met so many people who were stuck, people who didn't know how to get out of their own way. I was there myself. It wasn't easy, but now I'm living the life I'm happy with. I made the changes, and I'm empowered to take control of my own life. I can't control what happens to me, but I can control how I react to it. The world is a joyful place. It's full of opportunities and possibilities. This book will help you find that joy. This book includes stories of the heroes who live among us, people who have faced unimaginable tragedy, and they've got beyond it. And now they live a fulfilling life, a life full of joy, a life full of happiness, and they help others do the same. In this book, you will hear their stories, you will meet them, and you will learn from them. This book looks at what traits these people share. It looks at what enables them to get over the incredible obstacles they have faced. It looks at what helps them succeed. I also share my stories. One of the coolest stories was when I was in South Beach with my mother. I was staying at a very trendy hotel, and as we were going out for dinner, I just felt really subconscious. I didn't have anything to wear that would fit in this area. We decided to go to the bar and have a drink. As I'm sitting down there, I'm looking around at all the beautiful, trendy people around me. And suddenly I thought to myself, wait a minute, Lori, you're happy with you are. Why do you care what they think? I suddenly felt better. I felt confident. I didn't care that I didn't look like them. I didn't have to look like them. And an amazing thing happened. I started talking to the bartender. I started talking to the people around them. I told them I'm an author and I'm taking notes for my book. Suddenly, I was the interesting person in the bar. They were asking me questions. I was the cool, trendy one. What an amazing change. You can make changes like this as well. My perspective on this book is unique because I have lived there. I have been in a place where I was unhappy. I was fired in a horrendous way, but I got past that. It inspired me. Today I am living the life I desire, but it hasn't always been that way, and it isn't easy. In this book, you will laugh. Maybe you will cry. It'll bring out your emotions, but hopefully you'll learn something. Hopefully this book will teach you how to focus, how to change what you want to do, how to take control. In this book, I am sharing stories from my life and the life of others. These are stories full of hope, stories full of joy, stories full of love. My wish for this book is that it will inspire you, that it will inspire those who are unhappy and want to change their life, that will inspire those who are stuck or those who are struggling. I want this book to help you get what you deserve. I want this book to help you live the life you dream of. You will love this book if you're thinking about a change. If you're thinking about a career change, maybe starting your own business. You will love this book if you're stuck. And you will love this book if you just want a little bit more. More happiness, more success, more fulfillment, more joy, even more love. My name is Lori McDowell, and I am the author of The Reinvention Mindset. Well, welcome back, everyone. I'm here with McKensie Stanton, as I said earlier, and we were just finished talking about Fiji and how amazing the Fiji retreat was. So when we all came back from Fiji, you stayed. So tell us a little bit about the places you've been and the travel and what you experienced, traveling wherever you went. I think you were gone for like a couple months before you came back to the States.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, yes, we all flew over together from LA, and that was one of my favorite, that was a highlight for me too, just being on the plane together. And then, yes, I did stay back. I was like, I almost wanted to like fly back with you guys and then fly back again because it was so fun. Anyways, so yeah, I hung out in Fiji for a few days and quite frankly, just decompressed. I stayed at a place right on the beach. It was so beautiful. And to be frank, I did not know what country I was going to be in next after that. I had an idea. I was just so focused on getting all that done and together and like making it happen and like go well. I was like my whole focus that I was like, all right, and that's the thing. So I traveled to a couple, I don't know, maybe 30 countries by that point. So it wasn't my first rodeo. I was like, I'll figure it out. It's all good. But anyways, I did have a retreat that I was attending in the Maldives at the end of September. So I had a 10-day week to 10-day gap or so. And I end up choosing Sri Lanka. So it was always on my list to go to. There's something about it. I was like, I just want to go, I just want to experience it. And they had this cool train that was famous. And, man, Sri Lankans are also just incredibly kind people. And, it's a beautiful country. I'm definitely going to lead a retreat there at some point. No freaking question about it. So cool. And yeah, so I went there and then I went to the Maldives, and it was a retreat called Active Escapes, and it's just purely a fitness retreat. And at this one, there's 100 people there. So
wow.
Made some great connections. So after that month, I was like, all right, I gotta get back to some work and like dive in. So let's see, after that, I ended up going to Bali, Indonesia for a couple of months. And I really just hunkered down and I built out more of our backend stuff and our app and put together more of our collective that we came coming out of the retreat. So it was just really beautiful to just work in Bali. And I worked and worked out and met cool people. And this beautiful place. I had a friend that flew up from Australia and we traveled around a bit part of that time. And it like literally being over that, I was like, this is just what I was made to do. Like I am a free spirited, like hippie fingers, hold babies in forest kind of girl. Like that's just who I am. So I felt very aligned, just in that lifestyle. And then what's funny is I was actually planning on staying abroad, and I joke with my family. I'm very grateful because it's really important to me, even though I do travel full time, to still come back home and keep roots. And I'm not like, I'm going to go for years on end and never come back. Younger me would have done that. Me today, it's important to keep those relationships. And, my family's getting older, so I want to still be here. I just didn't want to be tied here. I wanted to be free to roam. And so, let's see. Yeah, I ended up going, lost my train of thought a little bit. Let's see, where was I going after that? So yeah, I was in Bali for a couple months, and then I ended up going to Malaysia. My family decided to do a family reunion after like 10 years of not coming together. And I was like, guys, I just kicked off my nomad life. Now I'm not like, I don't want to have FOMO missing out on our family reunion. So I came back to the States and I went to South Dakota.
Pause 1 minute. The voice got really weird for a minute. Let me stop the recording.
After Bali. Oh, yeah. So after Bali, it's so funny. My family chose to have a family reunion after like 10 years. So I was like, I had FOMO. I came back to the States for that. So my freedom, nomadic, just stay abroad for months on end, kind of pivoted, which is cool. So I came back to South Dakota, spent a few weeks there. Well, I went to Malaysia in between that, and then came back to Idaho for a little bit just for some business stuff. And then I ended up going to Europe after that. So the beginning of this year, I spent, I think it was 5 weeks in Romania, which was, oh my gosh, so incredible. And then I went to France and Mexico, and then came back to Idaho, then Texas, Idaho, Florida, Idaho, going back to Florida. Boom, 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 ping pong, like all over the place. So, yeah, and it's so interesting because Lori, I've made in this lifestyle, and anyone that's considering this life, my personal experiences, I've made dozens of plans of where I'm going to be and when I'm going to be there and all the things I'm going to do. And something that, because for me, this is a very spiritually led lifestyle as well. So it's a desire, and it's yet a calling to me. And so it's important. Like, I've traveled places where I've gone and then I look back and I'm like, I think I forced that. I think that it was just kind of a pain the whole time, and it wasn't very fun. It didn't really flow. I didn't really create new connections or crazy cool memories. I kind of forced it, and it was really draining, actually. But most of the time it's flow. It's coming from a place of excitement and alignment. So, you still have tough days when you travel. You get tired sometimes, you're hungry, things happen, right? I remember one day we wore the same outfit 3 days in a row because I couldn't find a place to do laundry. Like, it just, stuff like that will happen, you just got to roll. And I was traveling too, so that's part of it, mind you. Okay. I put deodorant on, I still showered. Anyways. But yeah, so a lot of this journey has been with my hands open. And I realized that I can hold on to this lifestyle in two different postures. I can hold it like this with my palms facing down and clench it, and it's hard and I'm tense and it's tough. Or I can still hold it in my hand and have it loose and be open, and it can come and go. And so it's been a very humbling and eye-opening journey to do this now full time and build a business, and a calling on my heart, and to maintain my health and everything while doing it. So really, like, the flow of, not always knowing where I'm going to be in a week, it's a journey in of itself. Like, I've had to continually surrender it. And I'll tell you, Lori, every time I do, every time I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to be back in Idaho, if I'm going to be here, if I'm going to be there, if I'm not, whatever, and I'm okay with it, it's like immediately the next opportunity opens up. And it's just a continual, like, surrender of my heart and getting it right, and just knowing that I'm not, this is the thing, because of the vision of World Changers, I felt very called to be free, and in my belief, to go where God calls me to go, and when he calls me, and how long, and to meet who he wants me to meet. And so I'm always praying to the big guy. I'm like, would you just like give me like a 6-month itinerary? You know what I mean? Like, just a thought.
Yeah. Can you send me someplace relaxing and
Yeah.
calm where I can, with great internet and just,
That'd be great,
that's funny.
So yeah, so I say all that too because I think, like, I romanticized this lifestyle for so long, and I wouldn't say I was so ignorant to think that I wouldn't have obstacles or life would still happen. I know that it does, and I've traveled enough to know that. What I didn't anticipate, though, was the degree, and I think 8 months in, 9 months in, that I would continually need to keep I thought I'd have more of my footing by now, in certain ways. And I'm just continually like, wow, this exposes my weaknesses a lot. And, you know, so as freeing as it is, it still requires discipline. It still requires attention within myself that, exposes where I can still grow. So, it's not the ultimate end all be all answer, though it is a pretty freaking cool life, I will say. So yeah, there's that.
So I love that. So those of you listening, if some of you like me are probably thinking like, wow, that sounds amazing. I want to do that. I want to have that life. And some of you listening are thinking like, oh my God, I could never do that uncertainty. But I love the fact that you said you're open and you're learning, and it's never perfect. I heard something. I was listening to Joel Osteen
Oh,
church last Sunday, and I just
joy.
caught a minute. It was on TV, and he said he was talking about how so many people focus on all the misfortunes, the problems, the things that happen, and he talked about how he wants to teach you, to focus on your blessings. And when you focus on your blessings, it's like the misfortunes don't go away. They're still there. Those bad things still happen. Yet you're focused on your blessings and they're just part of it. They're just things you do. And I think that's just an amazing message that,
Mm,
and the fact that you travel and you don't necessarily know where you're going next or your plans change. I mean, but yet when you accept that and you sit there and say, well, this is what it is. Like I've been seeing people who are in the most beautiful place in the world and they're arguing and they're fighting and they're all stressed because the shower in the hotel room doesn't work. It's like, chill, you're in a beautiful place,
mm.
appreciate that beautiful place. Yeah, you might have to take a cold shower, big deal. Fiji
Yeah.
was not perfect. We had, my hammock had big holes in it, so I kept laying in other people's hammocks. So it's
I'm
not,
coming
it
over.
wasn't. You using your hammock? Can I use that?
Yeah.
But when you think of that, like not just travel, but life and everything, like,
Mhm.
focus on the good, focus on what you're getting from it. I love that when you go to a place, you don't just, and go to a hotel and sit in the hotel. You connect with the people, you connect with the location, you learn about, and that's what travel's all about. Um,
Mhm.
so we are going to run out of time, but I've had such a good time speaking with McKensie. I'm sure I'm going to have her back, and maybe next time we'll be doing it from a place that we're traveling together, whether it's Boise, Idaho, where we're going to be in was that August?
August.
August.
Mhm.
We're going to be at a retreat in Boise in August, or Bali next year, or who knows where the next adventure. We were just in Austin together, which was really fun, and hopefully, maybe she'll come to Mexico with me in September, or my retreat in December in Tulum. There's going to be so many possibilities. So,
Yeah.
um, before we go, I would love to have you, just leave a word of wisdom, or and tell everybody how they can, the show notes will have everything about McKensie, how you can connect with her. We're going to have, there, if you love the footage from Fiji, maybe you can come on the next World Changers retreat, which we think will be in Bali probably, or
Mhm.
in Idaho, a short one. Not
Mhm.
Idaho's nice, not quite Bali standards.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about, leave a message for the community and tell them what you've got coming, just briefly, and then we'll close. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, one thing that you said in connecting with the people and being a traveler that I would like to leave and touch on is I realize this in building world changers, which I don't take lightly. Like it has been, I have felt very deeply from the beginning, like that's a bold move to say, hey, I'm running an organization called World Changers. Like I don't want people to think that, oh, I got a plan. You know what I mean? Like that's not the attitude about it at all. It's like, no, I have this inner drive that that I believe we all have. And I just am excited to be able to be one to steward that, just like you're stewarding it too. And, you know, um, so something that I've realized in this journey is there's three types of travelers, three types of people that I think live their life. I think number one is a tourist. And don't get me wrong, I am a tourist as well. Like I will have my tourist moments. I'm gonna go see the highlights. Like, I like when I'm in Paris, I go see the Eiffel Tower. I'm gonna do it. And so it's not bad. It's just the focus, generally speaking, is where can I go for me and what can I take when I'm there? I. And there's a lot of value in that. A traveler will go to a place and say, who's the people that's standing at the Eiffel Tower? Who's the people that's working there? That's from this place. We're in Fiji. Who are the people that are working at the resort? What's their
Mm,
life like? Who are they? Like now it's about others. It's not just me, it's about more about we. And that's a different energy, it's a different focus when we travel. And then there's a third type of traveler. And that is a world changer. It's the person that will go and see the sights and meet the people and then ask the question, how can I make the difference when I'm here? No, you're good. Okay. We'll
yeah,
edit
I'm
this part out.
listening.
And then there's a world changer. And they're the ones that ask that they go see the sites, they meet the people, and then they ask the question, how can I make a difference in the lives of these people and leave something in their lives, in their hearts after I'm gone? That it is better because I came. And it's not just imposing our own ways on people and saying they have to, say, from the Western culture, live how we live. Rather, it's knowing the people and asking, what do you need? And is there a resource? Is there a connection? Are there finances? Like, what is it that what I have that suits what you need versus what I think you need? It's a totally different attitude, a totally different approach. And I believe that we can be a tourist, a traveler, and a world changer in our everyday life, our everyday interaction. So just something to think about, a lens to look through as you live. So where people can find us, it's funny and ironic that this is coming up right now. So we have an Instagram called, the handle is worldchangers.me. To be frank, .com was taken when I was looking for the website.
.me works.
But .me, I was like, hey, I have a world changer in me. You have a world changer in you. You know, I don't know. Anyway, so that's our handle. It's fine. That's our website. That's our Instagram handle. Yeah.
And we'll have all your other stuff. The show notes will have McKensie's email, everything you want to know about her. But I think that was a beautiful way to end. I love the fact, the show is called Journeys of Impact, and the fact that you can have a journey of impact everywhere, every day, by, being the tourist, the traveler, and the world changer. Because changing the world doesn't require a big step. It's one little thing, which all our speeches talked about. So we're definitely going to have you back, because there's so much left to talk about, but they only give me an hour per show. So
yeah, well, thank you.
So thank you so much for being here, and I love you, and I can't wait to see you in person and on our calls every week. So, and thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this. I'd love to hear what you think. Comment in, give us a comment. Tell us what you think. If you want to learn more. But remember, you too can be a world changer. Take that journey. Be with extraordinary people, extraordinary places, and make that extraordinary change. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
As this journey comes to a close, remember, impact isn't found in grand gestures alone. It lives in the conversations we start, the connections we make, and the courage we choose along the way. Today's episode is proof that extraordinary people can create extraordinary change in extraordinary places. And often, it starts closer to home than we ever imagined. So wherever your journey takes you next, lead with purpose, stay curious, and don't underestimate the power of one bold step or one meaningful ripple. If you loved what you heard, please take a moment to like, share, and follow. It's the best way to stay connected and be the first to know when new episodes drop. Until next time, keep moving forward, because the world is waiting for what you